What's going on, guys? Jolt here from the Token Minorities, and hey, I'm back. It's been a hot minute. I'm joined by Goldoa Dragon. Say hello.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new team event that Jolt and I are getting ourselves into for the first time in the history of the Token Minorities.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool deal. It's called the Team Battling League. It's kind of like a ghosting league. We're basically going to be working together here throughout this season, and I think it's going to be a pretty fun time. This is my first attempt at this generation of Pokemon, so I'm probably going to say some really stupid stuff as I'm working through all this. So please forgive me on that. But Goldoa here has played a few more games of Gen 8 than I have, so gonna have to lean on him a little bit, I think.
I will point out one fact that'll probably be untrue by the time this video is posted. I'm not even sure, but as of right now, my first ever Wi-Fi battle I played in Gen 8, I lost. But since then, I have not lost a Wi-Fi battle in Gen 8.
Fantastic. So you're really the carry here. That's what I'm hearing. I'm just the moral support. I'm the pretty face.
Do any of the battling because I can't battle on land. So this will be taking place with the 10-minute chess timer, land timer. So we're relying on Jolt Switch to be able to do that. And so all the battles are going to be singles, 6v6, but there will be 2 coaches per team that are kind of going through the motions and talking to each other about the moves and choices that they're going to be making for every battle this season.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting too. Like I've heard a lot of complaints about how the timer works in Gen 8, and that's a lot of the reason why I really haven't been too thrilled about joining any Gen 8 leagues. But this sounded like a really fun chance to, just try out some of these mons and just, get my feet wet in the format a little bit and just have some fun. So that's going to be the goal here with the season for both of us. We're just out here trying to have some fun and use some new mons that, we haven't had the chance to really use much yet. And we have a pretty cool squad here. We're not going to do like a separate draft analysis for you guys, as really there wasn't a whole lot of thorough planning that went into drafting this team, for being honest. So we just kind of picked some mons that looked like they went together relatively well and went from there. So yeah, this video is going to be kind of a combination of a abbreviated draft analysis and then a live team builder for you guys for our week 1 matchup against, I don't know the name of the team we're against, but it's Sixfthax and Shuckle King.
Death Valley Incineroars?
The Death Valley Incineroars. It sounds kind of intense.
It does. It's way more intense than our roster name, but
I don't think so. Washu's pretty intense too, for other reasons. But yeah. So anyway, let's talk a little bit about our team. Goldoa, you want to start that off?
Yeah, sure. So right off the bat, we decided first round we were going to take a dragon type. It took us a little while to decide on exactly which one, but we decided to take Hydreigon over the other options that were there for us, namely Komo-o and Kyurem, I think were our choices. We had the 4th pick, and we were like, all right, we're going to pick one of whatever's left between Melmetal, Zeraora, and Dragapult. And picks 1 through 3 were Melmetal, Zeraora, and Dragapult. So we kind of had to scrounge. But we decided to pick up Hydreigon and pair it with Terrakion, which is a core that in Gen 8 has been incredibly good. I've seen it more in Showdown leagues than in Wi-Fi leagues, but the idea of it is pretty simple. Both of these mons pair really well together. Hydreigon switching in on the ground type moves into Terrakion, and Terrakion being able to basically slam anything that would otherwise threaten Hydreigon is just such a nice core. Hydreigon getting Dragon Dance this gen, getting Nasty Plot, and then obviously Terrakion gets all the setup it always got. So I think this is a very good start for us, and this is sort of where Jolt sort of took over from the team after I told him to pick up Hydreigon and Terrakion. We agreed that we couldn't decide which of us was a better Gardevoir player, so we were going to pick up Gardevoir.
Yes, yeah. Gardevoir is always going to happen, I think, with us teaming up here. And the combination Hydreigon, Terrakion, Gardevoir really, I think, is pretty scary offensively. And there's just so much potential for versatility between those mons, I think. So I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with that combo. But we actually waited around on Gardevoir. That was our round 4 pick. In round 3, we got Seismitoad, which was a tier 2, I believe, in this league.
Yeah.
And yeah, Seismitoad, like it's always been pretty reliable, I would say. But now with hidden powers no longer existing, I think it's just become that much better. You know, it doesn't have to worry about that quad weakness nearly as much, especially in dealing with like electric types, for example. But yeah, just in general, Seismitoad's natural bulk I think is really solid for this team, which turned out to be a little bit more on the offensive side. And yeah, having something like Seismitoad that can pivot into pretty much anything is nice. Plus, it does have that offensive option of a Rain Dance sweeper, just a Swift Swim sweeper if we wanted to use it that way too. So yeah, Seismitoad just a nice pivot for the team. We also got a new Gen 8 Mon, Kaparaja. Is that how I say it? Kaparaja?
Sure.
Something like that. I don't actually know, but it's a fat boy. It's a big steel type. I think it was probably the best steel type on the board that we could afford at the time. I believe in tier 3, right?
Yeah, it's tier 3. We picked up a whole bunch of tier 3s.
Yeah, we got a lot of tier 3s and a lot of tier 4s. That's just kind of how the draft was laid out for us. But yeah, Kaparaja, I believe it's a stealth rocker if we need it to be. And yeah, it just seems like a really nice tank as well. Kind of goes along with Seismitoad. They don't share any weaknesses. They do have, I mean, they're hit neutrally by a lot of the same types of attacks, but still, I think they're both going to be nice pivots for the team and still have some offensive presence and stuff too. So yeah, I think the first 5 picks that we have all seem really solid. I personally think all 5 of them could come every single week throughout the season, which is nice to have. Not saying that we're going to do that, but it's definitely a luxury, I would say, to have that many Mons that I think are able to come pretty much all the time. So that's kind of how we started it off. And now we got a Ludicolo. Why did we get Ludicolo?
So, as you heard Jolt mention earlier, we talked about how Seismitoad does have that little bit of possible rain option, but we didn't really want to commit to rain. But we were looking at grass types from low tiers, and they all sucked. Like, we were like, Roselia could maybe be worth it, but we don't really want it that much. And we just couldn't find anything we liked, but we wanted a grass type. And so we actually opted to grab Ludicolo just because we were like, well, we do have the maybe rain option. So like, if we want to commit, you know, they don't share any weaknesses, Seismitoad and Ludicolo. And they actually aren't even hit neutrally by like moves either that much. And so it's like really like, meh, why not kind of option for Ludicolo.
Honestly, like Ludi is something I've always wanted to use too. And I mean, normally it's going to be on an actual rain team, but I'm kind of excited to use it. Not going to lie. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. And like, honestly, countering other, I don't remember if there was a rain team drafted, but countering other possible weather options is just a good option to have. And it does get pretty good moves. Life Orb with Ludicolo does a decent amount of damage. It has solid coverage and not a lot of weaknesses. The other picks that I really want to talk about, though, was like, if you look at our first 5 picks, we have a really big fighting weakness. And especially in our first 2, but then Kaparaja also doesn't help that. Seismitoad's not resistant. Gardevoir does, but it's not bulky enough to really count as a resist. So we picked up a lot of other non-bulky resists to pretend that we're better off against fighting types. But the other mon that I was really excited to use here is Salazzle, which is our fire type and is also a fighting resist, and is also, in my opinion, one of the most under-tiered Pokemon in Gen 8. I think this thing, as Jolt said about our first 5 picks, like, they can come all the time. I think Salazzle doesn't come every week, but the matchups it comes to, it literally can just win. Like, auto-win. Obviously, there's still the, like, Corrosion, Subtoxic, Disable set that you can always run with Salazzle, but, like, the stabs that it has in Gen 8 and against the meta that we're facing is just out of this world. It gives us a fairy answer outside of Kaparaja, which is really nice, because something Hydreigon and Terrakion definitely don't want to deal with. And it gives us just, like, a really solid fire type that has a good speed tier as well. Then we picked up some other slower, bulkier mons. You want to talk about some of the lowest tier mons?
Yeah. Big fan of Salazzle as well. I love its speed for our team too. The 117 speed is really nice, I think, for us. But yeah, so some of the lower tier mons we got. I guess Rotom. So Rotom's not really, you know, slow. It's base 91 speed. It's pretty good for that. It's a nice pivot. Gave our team a little more momentum, which I felt like we were lacking at the time outside of Hydreigon. I think was our only other momentum Pokemon, I believe. I think Gardevoir might get Teleport, yeah.
Yeah, Teleport Gardevoir's a thing.
That's a thing. I'm not sure how much we'll want to use that, but I don't know. It's possible. But I guess we also have Musharna, which can probably run Teleport too, so that's another option there. But yeah, so Rotom, good momentum on, just a lot of nice resistances for the team, and we kind of agreed that with Rotom getting Nasty Plot now, I think it becomes much more of an offensive threat too than it would have been otherwise. Normally, like before this generation, I think it was pretty much always just like a pivot, maybe like an annoying status spammer. But I think Rotom can be a little bit, it can do a little bit more now in Gen 8, I think, with Nasty Plot. Then we also picked up Musharna and we picked up Girder. So Musharna was basically just an additional way to deal with fighting types that might have a way to more easily deal with Gardevoir. As Guard, yeah, it can take fighting hits very well, but outside of that, it doesn't really want to take like any heavy neutral or super effective hits. So something like Musharna helps out a lot with that. And Girder, we just felt like it was a nice priority user for our team if we needed it, and it's so fat that, you know, it's just a mon that can pretty much soak up a hit from most things. If we really need something that can just switch in and take a heavy physical hit, or even a heavy special hit if you invest properly, Girder can really do that well, and it really has a pretty respectable base attack stat too. I don't remember off the top of my head, maybe you know Goldoa, I think, is it like 100 or something?
105.
105? Yeah, so like that's really solid for an NFE.
Yeah, and also the fact that it gets defog now. I think it's better than Conkeldurr at using defog, just because it often has the move slot available for it, where Conkeldurr wants to be doing other things. So it's just super cheap for what it is.
Right. Yeah, I'm personally a pretty big fan of Girder. Yeah, that's all you. You got to talk about this.
All right, so there's one more mon on our team. We were sort of done with everything that we had wanted to do by like round 5, and we're just picking up other mons and literally talking, like, it was our pick for 4 hours before Jolt would show up. We'd talk about it for 5 minutes, and then we'd pick a mon. There's one mon that I was like, from literally round 2, was like, we're getting this mon, and it's a mon that I've wanted to try since Gen 8 came out. But until Home was released, it wasn't as good as it could have been because it didn't have its hidden ability. And so we grabbed Noctowl as our last mon. Noctowl picked up a lot of new toys in this gen, but its hidden ability is Tinted Lens. And if you don't know what Tinted Lens does, that's totally normal because it's such a underutilized ability.
It really
Most
is.
mons that are viable don't have it, but the mons that have it, you know, it's what basically makes them viable. And so Noctowl, to me, having Tinted Lens, so basically that means that any of its moves that are resisted actually do additional damage. I don't think it's fully, I think it's like 1.5 times damage.
I don't remember 100%. I thought it was like it makes it as if it's not resisted.
Yeah, it definitely makes it as if it's not resisted, but I don't remember if it boosted at all after that.
I don't think it boosts. I'm pretty sure it
Okay,
does.
well, it basically makes it that Noctowl can't be resisted, and it also picked up a lot of tricks like Nasty Plot, Moon Blast, and it has Hurricane and Hyper Voice, and it just like suddenly became something that you could look at and be like, I don't think that's going to be a threat, and then it 2-hit KOs Tyranitar and Sand, if you can get a Nasty Plot off. So that's kind of crazy. So I was like, Joe, we're taking Noctowl. I don't even care. And so I made sure that happened. It fit the team, actually. I wouldn't say we built around it, but like we didn't take any of their flying types, and it just gives us another ground resist. It's not weak to fighting, which was good. Not that it's going to take any hits. It's super frail and like pretty slow and otherwise unimpressive. And
Hey, it actually has some Spadef. Noctowl has Spadef.
That's true. It does have Spadef, but it doesn't have any physical defense.
It might be the mon on our team that has the most Spadef, actually. It might be Noctowl or like Gardevoir that has the most Spadef. So like, it's a thing.
So we're super pumped about Noctowl. It's the kind of mon that I love to run on my kind of teams, and I'm not sure about Jolt per se, how he would feel about doing this kind of thing, but like Noctowl's the kind of mon I'll bring like 3 weeks out of the total season, but it'll get like 10 kills. Because when it comes, the matchups that it comes to, I always manage to somehow figure out a way to make it work. So, you know, it's the kind of thing that I will build teams around sometimes, some weeks. It won't come every week, but I think it's the kind of mon that I would have a lot of fun with. I can't remember if it gets U-turn or not, but it's just such an interesting mon this gen, and I just want to give it a shot.
Yeah, I think it'll be really fun to use too. And I don't know, I normally a mon like Noctowl is not something I normally would draft. So I think it's kind of cool that we're kind of working together on this. It's going to make our builds a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit different. I think we're going to have different, you know, perspectives on how to build our teams and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. That is for sure. So with that said, that's our draft. Hope you guys like it. I think it's kind of cool. And
I think we're gonna have fun with it. I think you guys are gonna have fun watching the battles with it, regardless of what happens this season.
yes, I hope so. I hope so. It's a pretty.
Battles will be entertaining.
It should be. These should be entertaining games. I think our games should go pretty quickly too, with kind of how our team is constructed or our draft is constructed. So that should be nice as well. So we can kind of jump into the actual team build here for our week 1 matchup. So Our opponents, 6 Hacks, Shuckle King. If you guys don't know them, make sure to check them out. I'm not sure. Shuckle King does upload a little bit, but I know 6 Hacks has a pretty good sized channel as well. So we're gonna link them down in the description below. Of course, make sure to go give them a look. Check out their team builder as well. But they have a pretty interesting squad. They're rocking the Dragapult, Gengar, Cobalion, Rapidash, Galarian, Sigilyph, Arcanine, Silvally, Rotom, Scrafty, Quagsire, and the Stunfisk. So they have a lot of mons from previous generations that I personally am a little bit more familiar with. I'm actually pretty familiar with Dragapult too, just from the DPL season we just had not long ago. Dragapult, just a fantastic mon too. Base 142 speed is pretty insane.
That's absurd.
It rarely needs to even run much speed, which is crazy. Uninvested speed, yeah, 320. That's crazy. That is crazy.
I mean, I have a Dragapult in a different league, and I was like, I'm facing a rain team. I want to outspeed Pelipper, and I can outspeed Scarf Pelipper with a timid Dragapult. Like, not even max speed, just like some amount of speed, it'll outspeed Scarf Pelipper.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. That Scarfers can't always outspeed it. If we want to outspeed it with like Scarf Gardevoir this week, we're gonna have to run timid and like a lot of speed. I'm not saying we're gonna bring Scarf Gardevoir. We haven't even prepped that yet, but like, just to think about like a base 80 mod,
right,
which normally, if you want to run Scarf, maybe you can get away with Modest or something.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit.
The one thing to kind of note on that too, I feel like Scarf Guard, I'm just kind of thinking ahead on the build too. I think Scarf Guard is a really obvious bring too in this matchup, and like Scarf Guard is also the most common Gardevoir that people ever bring. So I'm thinking, just kind of looking immediately at their team, it might be good if we ran like a Trick Room Gardevoir or something like that as a potential win con, but we can kind of come back to that later. I'm still kind of brainstorming that in my head, but yeah, so like Dragapult I think it's super good. It was their round 1 pick. They took it when we wanted it, so that's a thing. They picked right before us, I believe. So, so yeah, and they have like a kind of cool double Ghost Core with Dragapult and Gengar, so both of those are going to be really tough for us to switch into. But good news is I think our team can hopefully kind of pressure them at the same time offensively, as we have really a lot of offensive options and speed control options too, it looks like. So I think we can play around it if we need to. But yeah, I'm just kind of trying to put together some initial thoughts about their team. So their speed is actually pretty good.
Yeah, for a gen that has very little speed, their speed is actually quite high. But there is this massive dip between Rotom, and Scrafty.
Yeah.
That is potentially exploitable because they have nothing between 58 and 86, whereas most of our team kind of actually fits in that range. Between, I don't know what we're bringing necessarily, but Noctowl, Ludicolo, Seismitoad, Gardevoir, they're all like in that middle range, and potentially Gardevoir, if we're not running Scarf, could easily run Modest or something like that, or because their team is so fast outside of like Scrafty and Stunfisk and Quagsire, Trick Room might actually be a really effective strategy.
Trick Room is still a thing this generation, right? That's not gone. Okay, good. Yeah, so
they'd never remove that. It's a VGC staple.
True. What was I thinking? Yeah, like Guard seems really nice. They do have the Arcanine, which could be kind of annoying. I wonder if they even bring Arcanine.
Arcanine, I think, has a pretty good matchup on the whole. Power Herb Solar Beam could be a set they could run.
Yeah.
I think it surprised me a little, but they just don't have very good answers to Seismitoad outside of Rotom, and even that doesn't want to take a Toxic and then, have to deal with Seismitoad later.
Yeah. So Rapidash is Fairy Psychic, correct?
Fairy Psychic, yes. This is
so
new
they have some Psychic Resist. I'm just trying to think how they're going to react to Scarf Guard, because looking at team preview, I would say they should fear Scarf Guard a lot, because it looks like a big problem.
Is incredibly spammable because their Steel type is Cobalion, and
so
it doesn't want to take a Moonblast.
I'm thinking that they bring Arcanine for that. So
then maybe like AV Arcanine, or
just Spadef, I think, because I'm sure it still gets Morning Sun, right? So like if I were them, I would bring kind of a fatter Arcanine. I would definitely bring Polt, and Polt can do so many different things too, so I don't even know what to expect. But with it outspeeding everything and Hydreigon being our Ghost Resist outside of Noctowl, I could see a Specs Polt being a bring.
Yeah, they may not even feel they need Specs. It might almost feel like overkill. So Dragapult's super frail. That's one thing I've learned. And so it works really, really well as like a kind of Swiss Army knife, get it in, get it out, do some damage where you can, pick its spots really well. But if they don't let it die or take any damage, then something like Life Orb would actually be really dangerous. Life Orb Draco can OHKO a max HP, but not special defensive Seismitoad. I learned that when I faced that rain team. Used Bolt. So that's something definitely to consider, is that Dragapult can easily tear holes without needing specs.
Yeah, I could easily see Life Orb as well. I bet it's able to 2-hit KO almost our whole team without even Life Orb, which is kind of scary.
Yeah, and if they are specs, then they potentially would be locking themselves into a Dragon-type move, which would be bad against things like the Gardevoir, the Copperajah, or a Ghost-type move, like if we do decide to bring Noctowl for whatever reason, or Hydreigon, then they can't stay locked into that. So I don't think they're going to want to lock into a move.
I think they have to maybe fear like a DD Hydreigon too if they ever wanted to lock into a Ghost move. So yeah, I think you're right. They probably shouldn't be choice locked.
Yeah, Life Orb seems like a really reasonable set, and it could go physical, it could go special. Since Ghost coverage is okay against our team, but isn't necessarily required, and the only thing stopping physical Dragapult is obviously the fact that it doesn't get a good physical Ghost stab. So it could be like Sucker Punch, U-Turn, Dragon Darts set. It could still have both Sucker Punch and U-Turn, but be mixed with Shadow Ball and Draco. You know, it could do a lot of things, but I think offensive. It's going to be offensive, and it's going to be probably Life Orb. Although one item that I think Dragapult benefits from really, really heavily, that's new this gen, is Eject Pack. So it could also be running Eject Pack Draco just to hit something and get out.
Yep, I could see that too. I don't know. My gut says they run a boosting item.
I would agree with that. Whether Life Orb, Expert Belt, whatever.
But I mean, anything.
So what is our switch into that then on a regular basis?
I think it comes down to how we build the team. If it would take a more like offensive approach to it, we don't necessarily switch, and that might be what we have to do. So okay, before we figure that out, let's think more about like from their perspective. So what do we think they guaranteed bring? I think they bring both ghosts, with our really only having like one resisted ghost on our team. Both of them having really good coverage options for Hydreigon.
And outspeeding it. Yeah,
and
I agree.
Outspeeding.
I think both ghosts are pretty expensive.
I think Cobalion should come.
It would surprise me if they don't bring Arcanine.
Arcanine. I think Quag should come, because otherwise Salazzle's a problem. And Quag protects against Terrakion, protects against what was I thinking? Protects against
Does Terrakion get Leaf Blade?
Hydreigon. I don't think. Maybe I got it now. I don't know.
I will double check, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
If it did, that'd be nice. Be very nice. I don't think so though. I think I would have seen that in DPL.
Yeah, I don't think it does either. No, it does not.
Okay. So yeah, like Quag makes a lot of sense for a bring. I could see Rotom coming, as that'd be able to Volt Switch on pretty much everything for free. Toad doesn't want to ever deal with it, so I could definitely see that. I could see Silvally too. Sigilyph, maybe. I think...
Yeah, the lower Mons in their team, the Sigilyph, Galarian, Rapidash, they're maybes, but I would worry more about their like upper 6 or 7.
Yeah, I don't see Stunfisk coming. I don't really see a need for Scrafty.
Yeah, no, not when you're facing down like Terrakion, Gardevoir.
Right, exactly. And even like Scrafty just doesn't really deal with anything on our team, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I mean, some 6 of Dragapult, Gengar, Arcanine, Silvally, Cobalion, Rotom, and Quagsire. Yeah. And maybe Rapidash.
I would say Rapidash is pretty unlikely. Silvally, I would say like a Fairy Silvally is more likely than Rapidash.
Yeah, Fairy Silvally seems like it could come.
I mean, I guess Rapidash could come. No, yeah, Silvally makes a lot more sense to me. I don't know. One or the other, I think as a Fairy slot.
So how are we going to deal with this Quagsire? Because now that you've mentioned it, it is a problem.
Yeah,
and
so...
obviously we could run like Energy Ball Gardevoir. But like, that can't be our only answer to it.
So I think the good news is that Salazzle kind of forces it in. Right? Like nothing else on his team or on their team really switches into Salazzle at all. So a toxic Salazzle should be able to put a timer on Quag unless he's running like a rest set, which is possible, and that'd be annoying. But That would give us turns. Yeah.
I mean, if we...
Yeah, that's an option too. I'm thinking like dual stab for sure, and then toxic, and then we have a slot open for whatever.
Yeah, whether disable, taunt, sub. There's a bunch of options there.
Yeah. So I'm thinking we bring Salazzle, and like with the intention of toxicking the Quag. I think it's gonna be part of it.
The second fastest mon on the field is also really nice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jot that down. I'll put like an X, I guess, if we're bringing it. Gonna do like that. Okay. So I think we bring that. The speed is really important here too for something to outpace Gengar naturally without a Scarf. So, okay. Do we bring Terrakion for damaging everything? We're not going to be able to spam close combat in this matchup because 2 ghosts that are really scary.
I mean, how confident are you that you're going to land Stone Edges?
Never. Why'd we draft this thing? So, like, okay, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. So, if we intend on toxicking the Quag, then it's going to take toxic damage whenever it tries to switch into Terrakion if that's what it wants to do. So, what we could actually do, and maybe you could run the calc and see how much like a close combat does to Quagsire, but if we're able to 2-8 KO Quagsire with close combat after like 2 rounds of toxic damage, then I suggest maybe a sub Terrakion, because that's going to cover the ghost switch-ins and it's going to cover the switch into Quag if we get a toxic on it, and then it beats everything else.
So max attack adamant Terrakion close combat does 43.4 to 51.2 to a Quagsire to max HP, max defense, both Quagsire.
That's adamant Terrak?
That's adamant Terrak, yeah.
How much does it do to Jolly?
If we switch to Jolly, we're looking at like so it's maxing out around 46% to Quag without any item boosting or anything like that. Which is, I mean, that's pretty solid damage, and after a couple rounds of poison, that will put him on a very fast clock.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'd have to recover in order to stop that damage from killing them afterwards. So
I like this a lot,
actually. Could certainly be an option. You could do like sub Salac.
What's the priority look like? Because does Pult get sneak?
It gets Sucker Punch.
Just Sucker Punch, so that's not great against Terrakion. Extreme Speed Arcanine. Yeah, their priority is kind of lacking, so... Ooh, Salac is an option. Possible win con. So I would say for Terrakion right now, let's say like a subset, and then possibly Salac, depending on what we want to use as a win con. So I mean, we could have multiple win cons. We probably should have multiple win cons, but there might be like a fist plate or something we want to put on Terrakion, you know, if we're not gonna Salac it. So I'm gonna put probably a bring on Terrakion. We'll see what the other mons are, but
there are no plates anymore except for Fairy.
Oh really? There's no plates anymore?
Yeah, I mean they still have the black belt, which is like functionally the same.
Okay, cool.
But they got rid of the plates. I learned that when I tried to use a plate, and then the item disappeared when I tried to gen my Pokemon. I didn't know till the battle, and I didn't have anything. So
interesting. I mean, it's because there's no Arceus, I guess. Maybe whenever they release Arceus, it'll come back.
Yeah, but they did keep all the items that were functionally the same. So obviously, Parting Shot on Silvally, super annoying. Just because it does give them a piece of what is the word? Momentum that we can't really match.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we should probably have a Scarfer somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where. I'm not sure whether it makes sense to make that Hydreigon or bring Gardevoir Scarfed in the end or whatever. But a bailout option is never a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we are able to outspeed Dragapult with max speed Scarf Guard, right?
Yes, as long as it's timid. For being honest, I did that calc at level 50. I'm pretty sure it's true at level 100 as well.
Okay.
But
I mean, it is always a little bit different.
Dragapult maxed out at 421. Gardevoir will max out at max Scarf speed is 426. So yeah, it will outspeed it if we run enough speed.
Okay.
Also, there's almost no reason for them to run that fast of a Dragon Bolt.
That's
unless they're trying to outspeed a specific Scarf or like maybe Ludicolo or Noctowl, if they really care.
I think it's more likely they would creep down to Salazzle.
That's what I'm thinking. So then we could actually probably run Scarf Modest if we wanted to.
My concern, well, so they really don't switch into Psychic coverage though. Well, so
no.
Because even if they bring Arcanine, it may not matter.
Yeah, and
maybe Scarf Guard is the way.
Special defense is not great anyway, so Moonblast or Psychic is going to do decent damage to that regardless. Silvally could be Steel maybe, but Fairy seems more likely. So as long as they're not bringing Sigilyph or Rapidash, they have no Psychic switch in.
So on that one, I'm going to kind of leave it in a similar place to Terrakion for the time being, where we bring it, and it's just a matter of if we wanted to make it like a setup win combo Trick Room, or if we wanted to make it our Scarf Revenger. I think it depends on the rest of the team comp.
Yeah, and it's frustrating because looking at their team, like their abilities aren't that useful. So Trace is like not.
Yeah, I mean, true, very true. I mean, Infiltrator could be nice on Pult maybe, if they use that. Magic Guard, Sigilyph is never bad. Intimidate from Arcanine.
Okay, so if we're looking at like Salazzle, Terrakion, and Gardevoir as our like the first three we're looking at, I think we're gonna need some bulk behind that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
this team's not a team we can go up against with hyper offense and expect to just succeed.
Right. I mean, Toad looks really good, I think.
Yeah, I think Seismitoad looks amazing in this matchup.
Yeah.
Again, outside the Rotom and like maybe a Power of Arcanine, it's gonna be able to wall or at least sit in on most things.
Yeah, I mean, just as a rocker, it's a pretty solid rocker, and their only removal Savali and Rotom. I bet they bring Defog Rotom if they bring Rotom, expecting rocks on Toad, but we can we get knockoff now, right?
Yep.
So that's nice.
Yeah, so things aren't getting in for free. Even the Rotom's not coming in for free, and like we could run knockoff Toxic Rocks and then just like Scald or Earth Power.
Yeah.
And have that just be basically entirely support.
Yeah.
But
I'm just trying to think if that's going to be our best rocker, or if it's going to be better to run rocks on a Copperajah instead, because that would be able to stay in more likely against Savali and Rotom.
So Copperajah is, I was doing the calc. If Dragapult locks into a stab move and his specs, AV Copperajah it's 3-hit KO'd by whatever. If Dragapult goes for Fire Blast, then like that's gonna hurt. But like Copperajah is actually really good, like especially defensive option. I don't know if we necessarily want to run AV and commit to that, or if we want to.
What if we just invested in Spadef and?
That's actually just HP and then AV.
Oh, well, okay. So what if we were Spadef invested then without the AV? Can we avoid like 2-hit KOs at least? Because that could help out a lot against both Gengar and Pult, and we'd have lefties recovery, and then that becomes a pretty reliable rocker.
So let's see. I don't know how much we want to invest, but I'm just going to put all of it so that we get a sense of what it can possibly do. So Pult, Specs, Modest, Draco Meteor is doing maximum 35% to max HP, max special defense Copperajah. It says 9% chance 3 KO, and if we give it leftovers, there's a 0% chance of 3 KOs. But Fire Blast is still 2 KOing cleanly. So if they make that read, Shadow Ball is doing almost 50, a little under 50%, has a good chance 3 KO.
I think it's going to be a tough read though, because we can just as easily go Toad as a pivot.
Yeah.
Plus,
just making, I think bringing Copperajah at least just because it makes them make the harder choice.
Yeah, and I think combo Seismitoad and Copperajah is going to be pretty much perfect for pivoting around their team for the offense. Just kind of looking at what they have. Like neither of them switch into Ghost very well, which sucks and kind of means we need to bring Noctowl or Hydreigon, I think. And Noctowl might be coming. Oh, this might be a thing.
I mean, I'm just saying. First thing I noticed about their team is that outside of Stunfisk, they do not switch into a Hurricane at all. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good idea, but they don't.
I'm not gonna say no yet. But okay, so we can go Copper.
I think Copper Raj is a really good bring here. I think the 5 that we've picked out so far do really well, and I agree that it feels like it comes down to Hydreigon or Noctowl for the last slot.
Yep.
And just going through the other mons really quick, just so that we don't ignore them. Girder doesn't really match up well. I don't think the Fighting Stab is that necessary, especially with 2 Ghost types.
Yeah, it's not the best here.
And G Rapidash sitting there as well, and Sigilif. Those all like quad resist, and that's it's not a bad pick for a defogger, but it's not gonna do much in this battle. Ludicolo really doesn't pivot well at all against his team. It's going to be hard to get it in. It's really good against the Quagsire. There's no denying that.
It's really good offensively too. We set up a Rain Dance, it kind of wrecks him.
Team is going to do a lot of damage, but
that's really good actually.
I guess it's not like top of the list.
I don't think we should totally discount Ludicolo.
Musharna, I think Gardevoir covers the same exact thing Musharna would have done in this particular matchup if we're looking at it for TR.
Yep.
And then Rotom, he's got 2 way better Ghost types. And like 0 electric weaknesses. So unless we're using Rotom as the Scarfer that Gardevoir's not, then I'm not sure Rotom's going to make the cut.
Yeah.
Which leaves Hydreigon, Ludicolo, and Noctowl as our 6.
Yep. So we need to figure out. So okay, if Ludi looks really nice offensively, no doubt. Issue being, what would we bring it over, right? Because we don't have a Ghost Resist if we bring Ludi and not Hydreigon or Noctowl. So, if we were to bring Ludicolo, it would mean something else has to drop. And I don't know if that's worth it when we have other potential win cons on deck.
Yeah, and I think without Swift Swim, it's going to struggle to like actually break his team.
Well, I'm thinking you set up Rain Dance itself, because it can set up on Quag.
That's true. You can switch into Quag really easily and set up the Rain Dance. Barring like a Toxic, which would just be annoying, but it's
what do they have? Dude, what do they have for it though?
I mean, Pult switches into its stabs, but doesn't want to take an Ice Beam. And I think Pult can outspeed, maybe not Swift Swim.
It shouldn't. If Guard can outspeed with the Scarf,
yeah, it does
should outspeed with +2. But can we run Modest? Are we forcing it into Timid?
That's probably not. Again, if we're assuming that they're going to, what was I gonna say? If we're assuming that they're gonna run just enough speed to outspeed Salazzle, then no, we'll be able to run Modest. If we think they're gonna run max speed Timid Dragapult for some reason, then I think we have to run Timid.
Because they could try to creep like a Modest Swift Swim Ludi with Pult. I could see that.
So Pult max speed 421, right? Divide that by 2, you're looking at what, 220?
Yeah.
210. So Ludicolo can outspeed that Modest.
Okay.
Since it hits 239.
So we could.
So we could run Modest, Swift Swim, Ludicolo, which also would allow us to run a little bit more offensive Seismitoad potentially.
I mean, it could also take the place of Seismitoad.
It could at that point take the place of Seismitoad because it would be our Quagsire. Our Quagsire answers Arcanine.
It's
I don't
better at dealing with Rotom too.
Yeah, it handles Rotom a lot better than Seismitoad does. And I don't know if Ice Beam is gonna OHKO Pult. Probably
it won't. It won't OHKO. It should 2-hit KO though easily.
Life Orb, Ice Beam for Modest Ludicolo can. There's a chance it OHKOs.
So I mean, Surf or Hydro into Ice Beam should knock it out then.
Yeah, literally any damage from even like Giga Drain will into Ice Beam will kill it.
So
bulky.
What I really like then is it's a bind, right? Because they're forced to bring Quag if they want to deal with Salazzle/Terrakion. Nothing else on the team really deals with them easily. So they're kind of forced to bring Quag, and because they're forced to bring Quag and they're forced to try to keep it around, they're forced to switch it in, then we can easily double into Ludi at any time and just abuse.
Yeah, and it's like the first time that they switch into Quag, we don't go into Ludi, we just stay in with Salazzle, go for the Toxic.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And then the next times, it's always on a timer, and Ludicolo can always switch in.
Ludi can always switch in, and Tarak always has an option with sub too. So
I mean, I actually do like the Ludicolo.
And it could even set up with some speed, right? So I don't know how the speeds look, but their Arcanine probably creeps really slow, actually. I don't think they run much speed on Arcanine. I think it's going to be really slow because they should expect Scarf Guard. Their Arcanine's going to be really slow. So we actually should be able to also check or set up a Rain Dance on Arcanine. If we set up a Rain Dance on Arcanine, like obviously you can't hit us very hard with anything. So that's those two mons that we kind of expect to come that we can set up on pretty freely.
So if we're running Modest and we want to outspeed uninvested Arcanine, we're going to need something like 204 speed on the Ludi.
Okay.
That would hit 227. Arcanine hits 226. And if we wanted to run obviously a little bit more speed, we could. That 227 also allows us to outspeed max speed Timid Pult after the Rain Dance is up, which is obviously what we're looking for here. And then I'm pretty sure it wouldn't outspeed Scarf Gengar if that is the route they go, but that is something we're just going to deal with at the time, and I'm not sure Gengar is going to OHKO Ludicolo even with a Sludge Wave, though it might.
Oh yeah, it would.
With a Scarf?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it definitely will.
Oh yeah. You underestimate Gengar.
I do. 130 special attack is nothing to sneeze at. So.
Yeah.
But I think if they have Scarf Gengar, then they're forced to play around Ludicolo, and we can, you know, weasel around Gengar.
Yeah.
So that begs the question then, okay, what is the mon with the highest special defense stat to be able to switch into the Gengar? If that's what we think is going to stop the Ludicolo.
Copper.
Oh, I was going to say Noctowl. That was the joke, but...
Nope. Copper.
doesn't even want to think about it.
I mean, we still need the Ghost Resist.
Noctowl has its own problems with two Ghost types, just because it wants to spam Hyper Voice and it can't. And I mean, if we're running Rain, sure, we can run Noctowl and it'll handle something, but it'll probably not be the best pick here. I think Hydreigon is going to be overall better, being able to switch into the Ghost types, being able to switch into Arcanine, resists, you know, Rotom stabs, Quag stabs.
I'm just thinking, like, practically, I'm trying to think how Hydreigon would actually do anything, because, like, when it comes to Quag, we have other ways to abuse it already. We don't necessarily need to use Hydra for that. So we'd probably want to run a Berry or AV.
Does
AV
D-Dance
take hits? I don't even... Or like Sash. We could be like a random Sash too. Sash for the kill. Maybe at least make it a lead.
One. That's true. Yeah, AV may not even take a hit well.
But then that kind of defeats the purpose of having a Ghost Resist. Do we need it though? We're kind of going offensive.
Team is Noctowl. Like, those are our only two Ghost Resist on our entire roster.
So, okay, how are we going to play this, right? So Copper is going to be like it's going to be a pivot, kind of a pivot for the team. Everything else is really offensive. So we don't necessarily need to have a Mon. I mean, Hydreigon, I don't think even gets Roost, right? Or did it get Roost with Home?
It gets Roost with Home.
Oh, good. Lovely. That's even better. So I'm just thinking that it may not truly matter that Hydreigon is able to consistently take hits as long as they can pivot into it if we needed to.
You mean the Quagsire specifically?
No, I'm saying like ghost hits in general. So I was thinking like if we were to run like a Sash set and it gets brought down to its Sash on turn 1, hopefully gets a kill at the same time, then we could still keep it alive potentially as if nothing else a sack later on to rocks or whatever, or it can still switch into something.
Well, okay, so if we wanted to run Sash, would it make more sense for us to run Scarf with U-turn?
Yeah. Double Scarf? It's not a bad option.
It's not a terrible option against their team. The risk we run is like hitting the Cobalion with a Dark Pulse. Is like literally the worst thing you can do.
It's bad, but I mean it's bad if they Rock Polish. That's like really, really bad. If I don't think we actually break Dark Pulse, I'd be terrified of that.
Yeah, that's. I mean, most of the time, I think it would be clicking U-turn. We could lead Hydreigon with either Scarf or Sash or a Berry and bluff Scarf for a while during this game. Could even bring like Sash D-Dance, which could potentially set up late game and sweep or mid game after, you know, being a lead, seeing what we want to do. Because there's a chance that like Sash D-Dance would allow us to first turn get a kill, and yeah, it goes down to Sash, but then that's what it is. And there's a chance that like it forces a switch, we get a U-turn or we get a D-Dance off, and then proceed to get 1 or 2 kills. Which is
so
nice.
I don't think a DD set with a Sash is going to be strong enough to get a kill on turn 1, because there's switch-ins to that. There's less switch-ins to Dracos than there is to, you know, like any kind of physical move from it.
That's fair.
I'm thinking if we're Sashed, we click Draco, like on pretty much everything.
I feel like their switch-ins to it are either Quagsire or Rebellion, depending on which one they're making.
Or a Fairy. If they bring one of their fairies, that would probably be the first switch.
Or Silvally, yeah.
I don't think they'd go hard Quag. I think they'd go into Koba or a fairy.
If that's the expectation, I mean, Hydreigon gets Earth Power. Like, we could try to make some sort of read there. But I do think
U-turn or Earth Power.
Arguably more valuable. What?
U-turn or Earth Power would both be solid reads there. I'm kind of on board with Scarf, dual Scarf.
I don't think it's a bad option.
Because it's unless they turn the tables with Trick Room, which doesn't really look like their team can do, then that gives us 3 really good speed control options and our 2 Scarfers and Ludi.
Yeah, and then we don't care about it with Copper and Terrakion if we do run this sub-Slack. That's our option.
I mean, we could, because I mean their team, it's speed central, so
that's what they're about. And if we can outspeed their speed, then we're in good shape.
Yeah.
That being said, I think Terrakion could also do with other things. It sort of depends on how we'd want to spec it, right? Like if we want it to be,
I think we want it to break
late game cleaner, then something like sub-Select can work. But if we want it to be like a breaker, so that one of our other mons, like Ludicolo or Gardevoir, can clean later, then I don't think it needs to be sub-Select. I think it can be maybe even just sub-lefties.
Yeah, sub-lefties is an option too. If we do enough to Quag them, I might be okay with that, but I don't know if lefties helps us live anything in particular. It might help us take a hit from Polt or Gengar if we run a little bulk, but I think we want to run max speed for Cobalion.
Yeah, I agree. And then what are we doing? Dual stabs or EQ?
If we go sub, dual stabs covers everything.
Well, yeah, dual stabs covers. Does it cover everything?
Everything. Aside from Stunfisk, that doesn't come. I mean, CC still covers, but
CC.
No, but like static is annoying. But
yeah.
So,
I mean, you're the one clicking the button, so if you feel confident that you can land all the Stone Edges this season,
gulp. I think I'm good with Scarfed Hydra, and then probably Scarf Guard as well. I'm not sure on that one yet, but Trick Room or Scarf Guard, I think both still seem really good.
Okay, so let's move on to the part, now that we've kind of got our 6, and maybe this will change, but more than likely it's going to stick. Let's kind of move on to, like, I don't know if you want to switch over to a showdown screen, or if you just want to stay on this screen.
I'll get it up in a second on my other monitor. I should have had that up already.
But we'll start going through, like, more specific EVs and sets and expectations, and then that might direct us in certain ways as well. I think that'll just help us move, because I think we've got our 6 mons. Which
yeah, we need to wrap it up here pretty quickly. We're not trying to make you guys sit here for an hour on this, so... But we did give you a small draft analysis this time, so it's going to be a little longer. Hope that's okay.
This one's going to be a little longer than the rest of them, we promise. We're also still getting used to the team, and I think once we're more used to the team, we'll have more of a sense of what the mons can do.
Yeah.
And these will go faster.
So I'm just going to kind of throw the mons on the builder real quick.
We did want to give you guys... sorry, go ahead.
That's fine, I was done.
I just want to say that we did want to give you guys like an insight into actually how we were building together, since it is the first time Jolt and I are building together as a pair.
Yep.
So we figured why do this like secretly and hidden? Why not just show you guys kind of the process that we go through? Maybe you can learn something about team building. Maybe you can then give us feedback for moving forward in the comments or on Discord, just saying like, hey, you know, notice you guys completely overlooked this thing this mon does, and that gives us a lot more help than us doing this by ourselves, like tucked away, and then only telling you guys what we came up with in the end. So we figured this was probably going to be the best way long term. So this is what we're intending to do for the season, is to do these live builders with you guys, try to build relatively quickly. We're not going to agonize over the decisions too much. We're going to try to agree. We're going to try to move forward with them, but nothing too in depth. But hopefully give you guys a good experience of like what it's like to actually sit here and build from our perspective.
Yeah. So I've put the mons that we talked about on the builder, and I mean we can just kind of start filling stuff in. I think at this point to just see if we like how it looks. So I'm on the Salazzle first. So I mean, obviously we want that to be a toxic set. We want to have speed for Gengar, probably max speed Gengar. So that's going to be 351. So we got to be timid. Do we want to go max bulk in this case, or max special attack? I think we still go special attack.
I think special attack's fine, although because both of its stabs are resisted by like multiple things. Actually, not both of its stabs are being resisted, but
one
like,
or the other is.
One or the other is resisted by almost everything. How often are we going to be using it to click moves is sort of the question.
I mean, we could be like a sub-toxic dual stab set too.
Yeah, at which point, if you're going Black Sledge with that and committing to that, then you want to go less special attack, more bulk. But if you are going for like an offensive set there, that's also reasonable.
I think we still want to have the offensive presence though, because like stuff like Arcanine, I mean we can sub-toxic that too. An option is to go only Flamethrower and then sub-toxic Protect. It covers everything.
Flashfire Arcanine, but that doesn't matter.
It covers everything.
And Quag, which we're not staying in on anyway. So yeah, I think
unless it's like a Spadef like roosting Sigilyph, which is possible, but I think we have other stuff for that.
So if you're going sub-talk to protect, do you want to do Black Sludge then?
Yeah.
And less special attack?
Yep. Yes, I do. So I have Flamethrower, Sub-Toxic Protect, Black Sludge, and I can just do max HP.
Yeah. And then all those speed, and then wherever you want to dump it, I would say
I'll go special attack.
Special defense?
I go special attack. I think it's still good to have a little bit. Yep.
Sure, that's fine.
Yep. So I think that makes a lot of sense here. That's gonna make this. That's gonna make this a nice switch into Arcanine too. So that's pretty good. So
barring EQ from Arcanine.
Gets EQ now? Is that a thing?
Or Bulldoze, I mean, ground type move.
Okay, that's true.
I think it gets Stomping Tantrum, which is stronger than Bulldoze, but
against our team, I guess they could try to click it, but I don't know. We can play around it too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a cover.
Color is probably the next easiest one because we have to kind of pick out the set.
Yeah. So, okay, water move, do we want... Okay, we need water coverage, we need grass coverage, and ice coverage, right? So,
ice coverage, yeah.
Water move, do we want surf, do we want hydro? I think surf is probably enough.
I'm just going to leave that up to you.
Surf it is.
Hydro kills Gengar. Surf in rain also kills Gengar. So yeah. I forgot to put the rain on. So I was like, surf doesn't kill, but in rain it will.
So I've got surf, Giga Drain, Ice Beam.
Yeah.
I think Giga Drain is enough. We only need the grass coverage for Quag and Stunfisk, I guess, and neither of them can touch us. So then Life Orb, I imagine.
Yep. And then 204 speed was enough to outspeed uninvested Arc. If you wanted to run a little bit more in case they put a little bit into Arc or Silvally, that's reasonable.
I'll run a little more. And then max here. Give me a Life Orb number, 309, and then I will plop 4 into defense. Make it modest. So that is Ludi.
Cool. That's 2 down. Look at that.
2 down.
Third of the way done.
Alright, so what's going to be next easiest? Maybe Copper. We know kind of what we want it to do. So we want to go max Spadef, or at least close to it. Might want to make it a little bit more optimal, potentially.
So looking at Copper's set, we can't ever take 2 Fire Blasts or Focus Blasts from Dragapult and Gengar respectively.
Okay.
No matter how much we run, unless we're running like AV or something, but we want to run rocks on it, so we're not going to do that. Sheer Force is an amazing ability, which makes Iron Head better than Heavy Slam for it.
What coverage do we need?
So Sheer Force Iron Head cannot kill a Gengar if we don't invest in attack at all.
Okay, how much do we need?
In order to have any chance to kill a Gengar or guarantee, let's just go with guaranteed KO after rocks probably.
Yeah, that's fair.
So guaranteed KO after rocks would take 104 attack. I don't know if we want to run that much, so
let's assume Gengar takes 2 rounds of rocks.
Okay.
Actually, no. It might be worth.
Well, if it takes 2 rounds of rocks, we kill it with 0.
Okay. So 1 round of rocks, we need 104. You said.
Yeah.
So check a calc on 152 HP, 252 careful copper. Like check how much Gengar's doing and Dragapult.
So Gengar to that 152 HP, 252 careful. Gengar's doing 56 to 66%
with Focus Blast.
With Focus Blast.
Shadow Ball.
Shadow Ball's doing 27 to 33%.
Life Orb.
Scarf.
What's Life Orb do?
What's Life Orb do? Life Orb, Focus Blast is doing max 86%. Shadow Ball's doing 36 to 43%.
So we avoid a +2 from Shadow Ball as well. So
yeah.
Okay.
And if we run leftovers, there's a small roll that we can live 3 hits, which is kind of wild. And then you wanted to put 104 into attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's Iron Head then.
Hold on. Maybe I'm doing math weird. Because hold on. So it actually only needs 84 attack to guarantee Doko if Gengar has 0 HP and 0 defense. I assume it's gonna have some HP stat, like in HP investment though.
It might only be like 12. Put 12 in it because it might creep down to Tarak.
Okay, so 12, 84. So it's weird to me because it says it does 86.3 to 101.5.
Yeah.
But it says it's guaranteed Doko after rocks.
That makes no sense. Okay, that's wrong.
Because I wonder if that's just like an oh wait, no, never mind. I figured out why I was doing that. Yeah, no, it needs to, with 12 HP, it needs 104.
104. Okay, cool. So I think that's probably fine then. So we need to know our attacks too. Stealth Rock, Iron Head. We need something that hits Cobalion. We need something that hits probably Arcanine. Those are 2 pretty good switch-ins. So Earthquake.
Yeah. High horsepower. Does it get Earthquake?
It gets both.
Sweet. That's convenient.
So Iron Head Earthquake hits everything neutrally aside from Rotom. So that's an option to think about.
Oh yeah, it does get EQ. Everything neutrally aside from Rotom, so we could run like Toxic for Rotom if we think that that's going to be their switch in. We could run Heat Crash.
Does it get Heat Crash? Where's that?
What?
Does it get Heat Crash?
Yeah, it does.
Oh, there it is. More power, the heavier the use. Oh wow, that's really good against Rotom. Okay. Yeah, I'm down for that. I don't know if this thing actually gets Toxic. I don't see it.
I don't believe it does. It's one of those Gen 8 mons that doesn't.
Lame. Very lame.
So yeah, if they are max HP Rotom, if we go for a Heat Crash with 104 attack, we're doing 73 to 86%.
Love it.
So 2 rounds of Stealth Rocks, they'll die.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And I mean, Quag is going to switch into this pretty easily, so we could Power Whip too, potentially.
Depends on what you think is more likely going to switch into this thing.
Yeah.
We could run Whirlwind if we like really just wanted to rack up some rocks damage and screw with them a little bit.
Yeah.
But I mean, even Iron Head is doing, if they're max HP Rotom but not max defense, Iron Head's doing like 25%. which isn't nothing.
To Roto.
Because chipping that thing down will just help us in the long run.
Yeah, I feel like... Okay, I want to be able to beat the removal, so I think we need to have Heat Crash to beat the removal with this. So, okay, and then we want EQ because Cobalion could be a threat. But we have Heat... No, wait, we don't need EQ now because we have Heat Crash.
Well, Arcanine's still a problem.
But Arcanine and Quag could be covered maybe by something else.
There's nothing that Arcanine and Quag are both like weak.
Yeah, I mean EQ is probably the best option.
If we wanted to
Power
try
Whip, I guess. Actually, yeah, they have to fear Power Whip, so
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I like this set then. They have to fear Power Whip, and we should be able to pressure Quag with other members of the team. I think we're gonna want grass coverage on guard though.
That's reasonable, especially if we're running a Scarf Guard, since we've sort of talked about that.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I'm good with that copper set if you are. 152,
yeah, that's fine.
104, 252, okay. Let's see.
So if we're running guard to outspeed max speed, Pult, then it needs to be timid 244 speed. If we're running it to outspeed Pult, speed creeping Salazzle, that's going to be a little bit more of a calc for me, but I'll do it.
Yeah, we can just spam psychic moves with this thing. Like seriously, we just spam
Salazzle
them.
maxes out at 366. So they'd only need to run 188 Modest on Dragapult, and they'd hit 367. So if we run Modest, Guard, and we wanted to hit 368, that's 200 speed Modest Guard. Scarfed will outspeed Pult, Creeping, Salazzle.
Can you do one more time? What was it?
So 200 speed Modest Scarf Gardevoir outspeeds Pult, Creeping, Salazzle.
So 200 Modest. I might go
With
a
a
little
Scarf.
more to be safe.
Unless you want a little bit more, just in case you think they're going to go a little higher than that. That outspeeds by 2 points because we never actually hit 368. We can only hit 369.
Yeah, I'm going to throw in a little more in its Modest nature.
We could run staying modest. If we run 240 speed, we outspeed all Modest Pults.
If we hit 240 speed, we outspeed all Modest
If we run 240 EVs. So it would be 256 total speed. We would outspeed all Modest
I think that's worth it.
I don't know why they would run max speed Modest Pult, but if they do...
It's good to be safe with a Scarfer, I think.
Yeah. Especially because, like, Gardevoir is not taking hits.
No, I mean, it might have to take a sucker. It's the only thing.
Yeah.
So I got Moonblast, Psychic, Energy Ball. What else do we need on this? Anything? Nothing really strikes me as... Healing Wish, maybe?
Healing Wish is an option. Teleport is an option, although the -6 priority is...
I don't think we ever don't click a stab, honestly, unless it's.
I mean, I agree. I agree. There's almost no reason not to. Just
so options. Memento is also an option if we have Ludi. You know, Ludi could set up a Rain Dance out of Memento.
Could run Shadow Sneak Guard.
Done it before. Doesn't.
I like that you're considering it. We're running a Scarf Gardevoir with a Shadow Sneak. That's.
I mean. I'm not opposed to Healing Wish or Memento. That might be the best call.
I would say, yeah, Healing Wish or Memento is definitely really solid. If we wanted to be a little bit more cheesy, we could run, like, Future Sight. But that would then require us to switch out with our Scarfer, so as opposed to, like, spamming a move, which is kind of what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think... It depends on... So, okay, the debate between Healing Wish and Memento is, do we think that we're going to have a Mon that's going to get chipped down and then we want it back to full because that's where it's going to be more useful to us? the only mon I can think of being there doing that is Ludicolo.
I agree.
Like, that's the only mon that we would benefit from having Healing Wish. Whereas if we go for Memento, Ludicolo or Terrakion can potentially set up on literally everything on their team.
I like Memento a lot, man. I really do. I think it makes the most sense, especially that we still have a slot on Terrakion too, which could be SD if we want.
Yeah, and if we're running Memento, then sub SD Terrakion can potentially win the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it really can.
Again, you're gonna have to land some Stone Edges.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to run Memento. I mean, an option could also be debond.
There's definitely an argument for that. But that being said, I think Gardevoir more than likely will take out any mon that it's going to attack anyway. So it's going to be better for us not to try to intentionally let it die and instead go for damage.
I'm just thinking like Gardevoir kind of forced him to attack too. So it could be something that
That's true.
we could do. So there could be times when we can't knock something out. That last slot is always tricky on guard, it feels like, on Scarvers, because it seems like you always have room to do something. Something kind of cheeky.
Yeah. I guess it's a matter of like what we think is going to be their switch in. What do we like? Honestly, what is their switch into Psychic? Like if they don't bring Rapidash or Sigilif, and if they do, then what is their switch into Moonblast?
I think Arcanine is their original switch in. I think it has to be.
Yeah, but like, how much does Arcanine take? I feel like it's a lot.
It doesn't appreciate, but it avoids a 2-hit KO without rocks. I think with rocks it's probably 2-hit KOs.
Depends on how they're. So if they're specking for special defense, let's say, then yeah, it's Modest, Gardevoir, guarantee 3 KO on Arc. Oh, that's Boots Arc. Arcanine could run Boots.
Sure could.
And then yeah, it avoids the 2 KO with Psychic. If it's specking special defense, but then does it die to a Psyshock? Like, they'd have to really make that debate. And we could run both Psychic and Psyshock.
Yeah, I mean that could be the last slot too.
Once we know which way the Mons are specking, like if they're going to be specking towards special defense, then we can just switch it over to hitting them on the physical side where they're a lot frailer.
I just like Psychic because it makes Cobalion a less safe switch in.
I agree. I would not run Psyshock as the primary move. I'm just saying, like,
yeah, like if we brought Psyshock, it would mean no Memento though.
Yeah.
Which
but it does,
I think could be very nice.
If Arcanine is totally specially defensive, then Psyshock can 2-hit KO it potentially. And if it's totally physically defensive, then Psychic 2-hit KOs it. Yeah. So it forces Arcanine to not be a safe switch in if we have both. Because otherwise it's just going to Morning Sun on us forever.
Do you think that's more valuable than having Memento?
I will default to you whether you think you would find yourself clicking Memento, or whether you'd find yourself wishing you had an extra 10% on Arcanine.
What are we trying to actually win with?
It's a good question. I think Gardevoir is actually more of a breaker than a sweeper.
I agree. It's like a Revenger breaker.
Ludicolo or Terrakion as the win cons.
Ludi sets up on
Ludi,
either mid-game.
Memento gives us a better chance to set up a Ludi, so that might be the best option.
That's what I'm thinking, because if this is how we're playing it, we're trying to win with Ludi, which, yeah, I mean, it definitely can. Then we want to have as many opportunities, or as easy of an opportunity to set up as possible.
Yeah, Memento gives us that opportunity.
I'm going Memento, I think. I think that's the way to do it. And Psychic should pressure Arc enough. I think they probably run Spadef Arcanine expecting Psychic because of Koba, but I don't think we have to be that worried about Arcanine. Like, between Fat Salazzle, Terrakion, and Hydreigon, really, like, all of these mons should be able to deal with it. And it's going to pretty much be forced to Morning Sun on guard.
Which gives us a free switch into something.
Yeah. And if he leaves it low, it's 2-hit KO'd later, so like they have to heal. Yeah, so
they also might have to run boots, which is just good to know what they're doing.
Yep. Okay, yeah, I think I'm good with that. Still kind of think Trick Room Guard could be nice, but Scarf makes a lot of sense. We got to be able to Revenge Bolt immediately, so I think we have to do that. Okay, so now that we have Memento support, we have Terrakion, CC, Stone Edge, sub. We can quick attack potentially if we want prior. No quick attack. That's a bad idea. We could do.
I'm gonna advise against quick attack.
Yeah, that does not make any sense here. We can do SD if we want, and we can do taunt maybe if we wanted to do that.
So the thing about SD is that it still doesn't do anything to Quagsire.
No, it doesn't. But the idea is that with the toxic damage, so we want a sub. We don't want SD. Yeah. We don't need SD. There's no reason to SD here. So, all right. First of all, I think Black Belt makes sense on Tarak, because that's going to help out against. Yeah, the only response really is Quag. So, yes, I like that. So Black Belt, CC, Stone Edge, sub. And then the slot is pretty much free.
Yeah, but I don't think Swords Dance is going to be our best option. No. I feel like either Rock Polish, just don't have to worry about outspeeding things, or... I'm looking at it, and Stone Edge does not Oko Pult. But Pult doesn't Oko back either, so...
Do we get something that does Oko Pult? Dark move, maybe?
Doesn't get knockoff. It does get... Does it get Night Slash?
No, I don't think so.
No
dark moves, no ghost moves.
Learns
yep, I don't see anything for that.
So, okay, so there's two options then. Do we want to run Rock Blast or Rock Tomb?
Just for higher accuracy?
What?
For higher accuracy, or what are you thinking?
Lowering the speed, so then we don't have to worry about outspeeding.
Actually, Rock Blast covers Sash Sigilyph too.
Yeah, Rock Blast. If we get lucky 5 hits,
yeah,
we can pretty much Oko Pult.
Does Metronome power up Rock Blast hits by chance?
During the hits?
Yeah.
I will look it up, but I don't believe it would.
If it does, that'd be really good.
No, it's listed as boosting the power of move by 20% for each consecutive turn it has been used successfully.
Darn. Okay. I still like Rock Blast though. Sash Sig is definitely a bring potentially.
If we are Rock Blast instead of Stone Edge, then I would actually say that potentially Swords Dance is a good bring.
We can have both though.
Oh, we're going Stone Edge and Rock Blast?
Yeah, we have a slot. It's wide open.
Oh sure, that's fine.
Unless we want to run like rocks on this or something and bring coverage on Copper.
I mean, unless we're going to go AV Copper, I think this is fine.
The other option to think about is Iron Head, because Silvally could easily be Fairy.
Does that take a Stone Edge?
Iron Head would be base 160, Stone Edge would be base 150, so it's slightly stronger.
Why is this not in alphabetical order? 5 hit Rock Blast does more.
Does it?
Yeah.
5 hits?
Yeah.
Let's do
4
it.
hits does comparable amount. Does like 3% less.
Nice.
We could run Iron Head for that. I don't see Silvally being their primary switch-in though. They're just not going to want to take a hit with it. Unless they're expecting a close combat, which still does almost 50% to a non-defensive Silvally.
Actually, yeah, if they're going to use that as their switch-in, it's going to be weakened for Hydreigon, which is good for us, so...
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Rock coverage is good enough, I think, there. Okay, so I'll pretty much just have like a max spread on Terrakion.
Yeah, just because of the Cabalion.
Yeah. Okay, and then last mon is Hydra. Thinking Scarf on this too?
I still think that's a decent option.
Yeah, I think so. So I have... Do we want dark coverage? Do we need it for Sigilyph? Probably. I don't think we ever really click it unless it's dire.
Yeah. I just worry about the Cabalion so much with its Scarf.
Same. We're actually kind of murdered by a Scarf Cabalion, by the way.
I don't think I've ever heard someone say that before.
I mean, we have Salazzle and Ludi, so like we have stuff, but it's still scary.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if it's Scarf Cabalion and it's going for like Iron Heads because it had to hit the Gardevoir hard, because we'll always have to choose whether to go for hitting Gardevoir or hitting something else, then Ludicolo can come in.
Yeah, we have ways to take advantage of it. Earth Power, Draco, U-turn, and could be Flash Cannon, but it's the same issue as Dark Pulse. It's free for Cabalion, but no justified at least. I kind of like Flash Cannon. It's not bad.
I think it's better than, because at least it's the Savali as well.
Yeah, and like Draco's gonna do a lot to Sigilyph. We have Terrakion that hits Sigilyph, and not much else. I don't know. I think we need Dark Pulse.
Stresses me out, but I mean, I think you're right. And it is really good against the Gengar Dragapult if the Cabalion is gone.
I think it's just like a last resort type of play.
Yeah.
I don't think we really click it unless we have to, but I think we need to have it.
I agree. I'm fine with that. I understand the necessity here.
Yeah,
as much as it stresses me out.
So I mean, then my question is, well, no, I think Earth Power is still the call. Yeah, Earth Power is the call. Okay, yeah, I think I'm good with that. So max special attack, and then we want speed for Sigilyph, which is probably max speed. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing creative here, but okay, that's fine.
Worried about.
Yeah.
Or not, so, it doesn't be totally max.
I mean, okay, yeah, if we're creeping like a max speed Sigilyph, then that's what we need.
I think it's it might be 248 or 244.
Oh, really? Because it's like one base point lower.
I know, but level 100 is weird.
322. Oh, you're right. 348.
So it is 248 in this case, but
so I'm gonna do this. I think 4-4 is good. Okay.
I love how they're like, everyone's like, it's so much easier to calculate level 100. No, it's so much easier to calculate level 50. When something is 1 point slower, you run max speed.
I don't know. You have to like put EVs in all your stats at level 50 though, it feels like. Level 100 you usually can get away with just 3.
The every 8 doesn't matter is weird.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this is going to be the team then. I don't really want to... I don't think there's anything we really need to change on it necessarily. It's probably not the best team necessarily, as we did kind of just do this in an hour, but I think it can win.
One,
we have ways to win.
Team. If we lose, it's not the end of the world. You know, we're still in it. I'm very used to that. You beat me week 1 the only time we ever played, so...
I'm not used to losing week 1. We're gonna win week 1. That's the plan.
All right. But whether we win or lose, you click the button. So
that seems fair. We need to figure out how we're actually gonna do that. By the way, we can figure that out later. I haven't set up my Switch for this yet. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you thought about the live team builder in the comments below. Also, just let us know what you think about our draft as well. Maybe what you're most excited about seeing us use. But I think that is going to wrap up this video. This is going up, what, the day before the battle, I think? So you can be on the lookout for the battle coming out right here on this channel tomorrow. And yeah, it should be a pretty good one. Hopefully we're carrying Leo and Shuckle King in a body bag. So.
And if you are coming from my channel, just a heads up, this league will be exclusively done on the TTM channel, at least for now. Maybe later on in the season, we'll both upload if the battles become more important or significant in some way. But it will always be on the TTM channel, so definitely subscribe to them. And then if you are coming from my channel or my Discord or from my side of things, keep an eye out down the road. But for the most part, I've got my own stuff already, whereas this is the only thing Jolt's doing, as far as I'm aware. So
yep.
Whatever I'm doing on the other side. So just a heads up on that.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
Take care, everybody.